Conversations, and today I've got the Mango Team Studio asking me questions.
Hi there, my name's Omar, and I'm happy to be on the podcast with you.
Thank you for
So this is our
coming.
first time being on a podcast. It's a new experience. Thank you for having me.
That's right.
So how's that? So what do you do here? Like, what's your podcast about?
So the podcast is just having a real conversation.
Yeah.
I want conversations to be real to make taboo conversations normalized.
Uh-huh.
I think that's my main idea with the whole podcast.
Why is it that you started this podcast? Or like, what was it that said like, I need to start a podcast? I need to talk about this.
So previously I was doing a lot of Instagram lives, but I sort of forgot why I started doing Instagram lives. So I just started interviewing people for the sake of interviewing people. So for me, my very last conversation that I had with a good friend of mine, she sort of showed me what I could do. So I was like, okay, I think it's time to up my game and sort of remember why I started doing Instagram lives. And that took me to doing a podcast, which luckily I found Mango Studios to start this journey.
Have you found this like experience or like being here first of all, like as like being with Mango Studios as a podcast group? What do you
Amazing.
think?
Amazing. I love the team. I love getting people involved in my projects. So I think Mango Studios, when I found out what it was about, I sort of went, you know what, this is where I need to be.
Yeah. So, all right then. So, on your journey though, what was like the main obstacles where you're like, all right, I might need some help on this? Well,
Um, on my journey, so at the start, I started my career about 3 years ago, and I knew I needed help starting it. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Um, so I think my first steps was actually asking for help and going, I don't know what I'm doing. I need help to get started and sort of find my way. I think
Yeah.
that was the most difficult in the last 3 years.
the last 3 years. All right then. So I guess this is actually like a question I've always wanted to ask was, I've heard a little bit about your story. Yeah, I would love to hear about more about it. Yeah, but how did it feel? So many people like just going against you, like saying you won't be able to do this, you won't be able to do that, and like you saying, you know what? No, I'm gonna do it. Like, how did it feel to have that? Like, what was that mindset you needed to have?
Um, so at first, I'm not gonna lie, I believed a lot of the people when they said I couldn't do it. But I know it was difficult to turn that sort of mindset around. It was definitely something that I thought I wouldn't do. I thought I'd just listen to everyone else because they know best.
Yeah.
Um, but I think once I learned to walk again, it was a different mindset. I sort of switched on the mindset of, you know what, if I can do this, I can do anything again. And that's when I really started to push myself, really started to look at what I could do. And for me, it was always about, proving myself wrong rather than proving others right.
Yeah.
So if people said I couldn't do this, I'd be like, I can't do this. But let me try, let me push myself. And I think the first time I did that was at the gym when I walked a 5K
5K.
within an hour and a half. And then I did it again the week following, and I got it down to 45 minutes.
Wow.
I think that was the time I was like, okay,
You can do this.
I
Like, it's
can
in
do
progress.
this.
Yeah.
I can push
I
myself.
hear that. Because when I go gym as well, when I was younger, I was like a really, really like big boy. Like,
Yeah.
I think I was 13, pushing like 130, 120. Yeah. And I was like, right, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And so most people like, okay, the only way from here is probably getting way bigger than what you actually was, right? And so, just being able to have that mindset, you're like, just leave these people alone. Like, just let them think that what they're thinking. I'm just gonna have to prove that I'm gonna do it for myself.
Yeah.
So I get what you mean. Obviously, your one's like it's way more impressive about like the 5K and all of that.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say it wasn't as impressive, just because I think I can do better.
Mhm.
But I think for myself, I shocked myself at doing it in 45 minutes.
It's like setting a statement.
Second
Essentially,
time
it's
round,
like
yeah.
you set the standard, so now you just want to beat that standard
Yep.
now. Yeah, I hear what
Yeah.
you're saying. So what is it that you actually, if you don't mind me asking, obviously, what is it that you actually like have?
So I've got glutaric aciduria, which is I can't break down protein properly.
Mm-hmm.
My body won't break it down, so I can't have a lot of chicken. I can't have a lot of milk, eggs, because I'll get really sick.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got dystonia, which means the right side of my body is weaker than my left. And that was caused by three convulsions that I had when I was 18 months old. And for those of you that don't know, convulsions is just a fancy word for 3 strokes.
Strokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, strokes are very, very serious. I had
Yeah.
one of my uncles. He was quite actually very lucky though. So he woke up in the morning. He wasn't feeling right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he was like, "Cool, what I do?" Because he felt like he wasn't feeling right that day. He felt flushed. He felt everything. So he's like, "Let me take an aspirin."
Yeah.
So it turns out he did have a stroke, but the aspirin actually saved him.
Oh, wow.
Because the one he did have was like, I think it was like a widowmaker or something like
Okay.
that. Yeah, and so it was a serious one, but he didn't feel it as much because he had the aspirin. It's like it's scary though, because without that one little pill, he could have been dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's scary, and for you to go for free at 18 months is insane. Yeah.
I think it was within 24 hours anyway. So,
Wow.
so yeah, it left me paralyzed, but I've worked hard to sort of get myself back to normal. So I'd say my uncle is very lucky to.
And if you don't mind me asking, your parents, how did they find that? Like,
This is a topic that they don't really like to talk about. I have asked them. From what I know, my dad was at work at the time, and he was working with a cousin of ours. And my cousin sort of told him, "You got to get home now."
yeah.
And my dad sort of spoken about it on my Instagram, and he sort of said, "It was, I felt numb. I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about my job at that point. I didn't care about anything. As soon as I found out, he left his work, he left everything, dropped everything, came home, found a note from my mum, written on the table, and he went straight to the hospital."
Yeah.
So from my dad's perspective, I know that he was definitely scared. From my mum's perspective, I think it was very upsetting to her, and she didn't know what was going on.
It's scary, not knowing what's going on with your baby.
Yeah, 100%. And especially at the time, doctors actually didn't know what was wrong with me. They didn't have a diagnosis. So I think not knowing the language, not knowing what's going on, and doctors not knowing.
So what is your background though?
So I'm Colombian.
Colombian. Oh, that's cool.
I'm Colombian, but I came here when I was very, very young. So
Okay.
I'm British Latino, pretty much.
Yeah. So your parents at the time, they weren't proper like British English speakers.
No.
Would you say?
No.
So they're in a new country and then their baby's not feeling well.
Yeah.
So that's a scary thing,
100%.
Wow. To be honest, I don't know how I would deal with that myself. So it is a scary situation to be in.
Yeah. And you got to remember, like, my auntie is a very nervous person. So imagine me being ill,
Yeah.
not knowing the language, but also having to deal with my auntie who's very nervous anyway.
It's all like obstacles.
Yeah.
Every step of the way is an obstacle.
Yeah.
It's tough. You know what I mean? And I have to give you a credit where it's due. Like being able to pass everything, like just get past all the struggles and the hurdles and stuff like that, and being able to like just be here today and do something. Because a lot of people like, and honestly, I don't even. Everyone's got their own thing. You know what I mean? Everyone's got their own thing, and some people they kind of accept it, and it's not their fault. You know what I mean? So I have to give you your credit for not accepting. Like, no, I want to live. Like, I want to
Yeah.
properly live how I want to live. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I think that actually came after after I found out after I found out that I was meant to die at 15. My concept sort of changed. Um,
15.
yeah, so when I think it was between 16 and 18, I went to a medical appointment and they said you were meant to die at 15. That was the prognosis.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this, so at the time I was like, "Ooh, damn, I cheated death.
You
I'm
must
still
have
here."
thought, you're like, wow, that's insane.
Yeah, but then I was like, actually, I'm not gonna accept this anymore.
No,
I've accepted it for 16, 18 years.
yeah.
I'm gonna do something about it now. I'm gonna
Mm.
change my life around. I think that was the point where I was like, this is it. This is when I'm gonna start making something of my life and start living the way I want to.
Yeah.
And that's just what I've been doing ever since.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, that's crazy. I couldn't imagine it being me. That's the thing. Like, just being 15, first of all, you're just starting life. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And then being told your life is ending, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, if you maybe found out like a year before that you would have died, or let's say you're 14, you found out next year you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, how would you feel about that? Have you ever thought about how that, like, if I knew before it actually happened, the time frame?
See, I've been asked if I've been angry at my parents for not telling me I was gonna die at 15, and I can honestly say I'm not. So I think if I had found out even before I was 14 or 13, I would have been scared and I wouldn't have done much anyway. Whereas where I was a little bit more mature and where I heard it, I was like, oh, okay. Maybe I was put on this earth to do something.
Yeah. I find that it's better not to know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because a lot of people, like, I've seen it with family, you know, where they've been diagnosed with like a disease or something. Like, I had a cousin, I think she had meningitis, yeah, and that, once you get it, there's not really like that's it. You know what I mean? And she didn't know. I'm pretty sure her parents knew, yeah, and they just didn't want her to live with that, like, the rest of her life, with a burden on her, showing her, like, just like a heavy feeling that any time you could just, and you're gone off this earth.
Yeah.
I feel like it's good not to know, because you can just enjoy life, you know, be a kid.
I mean, you can, but let me ask you this: if you didn't know, but you didn't do the things that you wanted to, would you not then regret it?
So, I do. I wouldn't. Okay, I wouldn't regret it. Yeah, because me myself, I feel like my whole life, like, for me myself
Yeah.
now, I've done a lot of things that I've really wanted to. There's obviously more. I've got goals that I want to reach, but I feel like there's also setting a high goal and then setting mini goals where you feel like you've achieved. You get what I mean? And I feel like I've achieved those mini goals that I wanted to achieve, and I've lived a good life so far, thank God. Yeah. And so if I did die, let's say I die tomorrow, God forbid, like, my parents, they could say that. They would say, I would hope they would say, actually, that he lived like a good life that he was happy with, because I feel like I have lived a good life that I was happy with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though there's more stuff I want to do, yeah, I'm happy with the stuff I get to do, like, on my day to day.
I like that.
You know.
I like that.
I don't know. I'm just thankful for like every day that because I see so many people that have anything can happen to you any day. It doesn't, like, death has no age limit. You get what I mean? And so being able to be 18 sitting here right now, I'm thankful for being here, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
100%.
So it's just, maybe I'll be like, I would have loved to be, like, okay, listen, I died today. I'm like, I would have loved to experience marriage or experience that. Yeah. But it's all like, cause I feel like I'm a quite religious guy. Everything's in God's hands. Whatever's meant to be is meant to be.
Yeah.
You know. So whenever like an obstacle comes, I find peace in God.
Mhm.
So I find it. So I'll give you an example. I didn't get into the dream school that I wanted to get
Yeah.
into, and that wasn't for me. That wasn't for me, I guess, you know. And it is what obviously I was like, I was bummed out for a bit. And
Mhm.
I was like, okay, but what now?
Yeah.
You get what I mean? And then something that you give up, you get rewarded for. So
Yeah.
if I'm still stuck on that, if once I've given it up, like that whole thing,
Mhm.
I can be rewarded, if that makes sense, for something
Yeah.
else. And I was rewarded, and I met a lot of good people where like along the way. You get what I mean? So it's just like a journey. It's in your book.
Yeah.
So
100%.
that's how I see things.
Yeah, 100%. I think we look at things a very similar way. Because I'm the same. I'm the exact same. So if something don't go my way, I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe it wasn't meant for me. Maybe it was. I was meant to work harder for something else.
Yeah.
And for me, that's been my mentality for the last 3 years. So if something hasn't worked out, I'll go, okay, is that meant for me?
Mm.
Maybe it wasn't meant to work out now, but later down the line,
Yeah.
I don't know. But something that people don't get is sacrifice comes with rewards,
Yeah.
but you've got to put in the work. You've got to sacrifice
It's
a
that
lot
journey.
of time. And what I've noticed is a lot of people go, I want, but they won't put the work in.
Yeah. I get what you're talking about. It's just
Yeah,
like so many people want stuff, but like they don't want to go through the journey. They
yeah,
feel like they want and they deserve.
yeah.
Yeah. But they don't earn it.
Mhm.
And earning
Yeah.
it is part of like you only get that. Okay, just getting something. Yeah. So I'll give you an example as well. When I was younger, I used to work with my dad from a
Mhm.
young age, and I always wanted my own computer, right? And so I thought most kids would just get their parents, and their parents would
Yeah.
say, "Yeah, here's this, just buy it."
Mhm.
Yeah, but I'm even though back then I thought that as well. I was like, why can't my parents
Yeah.
do that for me? Yeah, but my dad's like, just work for it, earn it. Yeah,
Mhm.
and earning it felt so much better because I was like,
100%.
all them days that I was working, yeah, I can find, and it built. I feel like you get more enjoyment out of it now
Yeah.
because you value it because it was the money you earn.
Yeah.
If it's something that your parents buy you, it's like it's a gift, and then it like you maybe glorify it for a month, and then after that it's normal to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even to this day, I look after my computer that I got myself.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know, you value something more. So it's all about that journey getting there that really builds
Yeah.
its value than you just getting it like that.
100%.
So it's just I don't know.
100%.
A lot of people like things like just given to them, but they don't
Yeah.
realize that the journey is really good for you.
Oh, 100%. And it's the same with life. It's the same with anything you do.
Yeah,
You got to enjoy the journey. Don't think about the end goal. Just enjoy the journey.
because I feel like a lot of people like to rush things, and rushing is the cause of like. So the reason people like to rush things is because they compare. Comparison's the worst thing anyone can do because it's the killer of joy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't enjoy something because you've compared. So now, like someone in my age group, yeah, let's say I've finished school and there's someone in the same year as me, and he's got like he's people are getting their licenses now. Let's say someone's just got a brand new BMW and they're like, oh, damn, I wish I got my car, but why is it not like that?
Yeah.
And then you start to forget the reason, like the reason behind certain things. Like you start to forget, hey, I've got a car though.
Yeah.
Like I love my car, but then you start to lose it. It starts to lose its value because you've compared it to someone else.
Yeah, 100%.
You get what I mean?
I agree.
And so when they start comparing like journeys, like someone else's, let's say their career choice, right? They want to be in a higher place from where they are right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, they tend to say like, I want to get that job. I want to skip to that part, but they don't want to go through that journey where they're like,
Yeah.
let me work the working path, like let me work my way up the
Yeah.
company and stuff like that. But let me not take too much of your time. Let me
That's
let
right.
someone else talk.
All right.
You know.